Welcome to the WWE Podcast Week in Review, and what a big week it's going to be with Crown Jewel coming up this Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern Time. Yes, 12 o'clock Eastern Time on a Thursday for the Crown Jewel pay-per-view. But we've got so much to talk about this week between the Brock Lesnar-Roman Reigns contract signing, WWE SmackDown taking on AEW Rampage for 30 minutes, Becky Lynch and Sasha Banks and their brilliant matchup, and WWE's latest obsession of putting foes together in a tag team. Will they dissolve? We'll let you decide. All this and so much more right after this. So if you guys don't know who Austin Cook is, he's a national U.S. champion in judo. He is a U.S. Open champion, a World Cup medalist, and he just launched his own YouTube channel. It's called Bad Boy Medicine. And right now there's a promo video up there. It's only a minute long and it's already got over 10,000 views. And there's going to be a lot more content coming. For example, he is going to be interviewing UFC champion Murilo Bustamante. So that's going to be going on the YouTube channel. Of course, on Instagram, you can also follow him at Bad Boy Medicine. Go check out the promo video as well. This is a YouTube channel that's going to grow very quickly, guys. Again, it's Bad Boy Medicine. So if you love combat sports and performance medicine, you're not going to want to miss this. So subscribe right now to Bad Boy Medicine. Check out the podcast strategy guide. Need the latest and greatest on games, movies, and more? Four friends get together on a rotating talk show to compete for the hottest takes on up-and-coming news in the nerd world. A winner out of the group is determined after each episode, who will go on to run the show the following week and mediate the topics and discussions. Topics can range anywhere from the latest details on recently announced games over to some heated debates on movies or shows that you should be checking out. Along the way, you can expect some unique perspectives, a few good laughs, and maybe learning something you didn't know. They're not professionals or experts, just a couple of nerds trying to make sense of the world. So who knows? You might like what you hear. So go check out the podcast Strategy Guide. You can also follow them on Instagram at Strategy Guide Podcast.
This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
All right, everybody, welcome to the WWE Podcast Week in Review. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Crown Jewel week. Sunday starting the new week, we are officially in Crown Jewel week. And maybe some of you may be excited by that statement. Some of you are relieved by that statement. Some of you don't care or are indifferent about the whole pay-per-view and just want to get through it so we can get back to the normal pay-per-views that we're all used to, that are located in the United States and don't have a whole lot of, let's say, political controversy of where they're located. And you guys know what I'm talking about there. But we've got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got the whole card that we're going to take a quick look at, although this is not a preview and prediction show. That is coming on the Monday Night Raw review on Tuesday. I'll be doing the official preview and prediction show, and as well as reviewing Monday Night Raw. So get ready for a Tuesday night mega show. And then Wednesday is the mailbag right before Crown Jewel on Thursday. And then Thursday, I'll be doing a review immediately following the pay-per-view, probably submitted to you guys and available to you by late evening Eastern time on Thursday. So probably more towards the, late evening, 10:30 so at night is when I'll be able to do it. I will be watching live. I'm actually doing my big boy job, but we find our ways to do it, don't we? It's called telecommuting, folks. Telecommuting is really changing the game for a lot of people. So I'll be watching it with you. And those of you on Discord, if you're interested in joining me there, I know a lot of us work on Thursdays. It's a weird day to have a pay-per-view. It's about as random of a time and day as it gets. But those of you that are on Discord, that are patrons of the show, I'll still be on there and responding to you guys live. The first 30 minutes, I do have to travel home. I'm doing kind of half in the office, half at home that day, but I will be doing the best I can to talk to you during the pay-per-view. And if you're wondering what the heck I'm talking about, and you're like, hey, I want to join this chat, simple. You go to Patreon, sign up for $1, or there's obviously other tiers with more benefits, but the bottom tier, the $1 tier, does get you access to this Discord server. All patrons of the show do get access to this server where we can talk about the show as it's going on, as well as other great benefits like ad-free everything, like every show we do ad-free. And how great would that be to not have to skip through or go, oh my God, another ad break, and just listen to straight wrestling audio, nothing but wrestling talk, non-interrupted. That would be a great thing, wouldn't it? I mean, I know I do for my podcast that I like. I do subscribe to them, and for a few dollars a month, I get my shows ad free. So why not do the same? Why give yourself that stress, right? Why interrupt your listening experience and just go ad free by either going to Patreon and getting yourself on Discord or going to Apple Podcasts and clicking on the ad free button. We now offer a free week, completely just risk-free, as they say. I feel like I'm doing an infomercial, but really, it's 7 days. You can do whatever you want. Check us out there. Click ad-free there, and everything is available ad-free. So why deal with the ads, right? They are a pain in the neck, I understand, but they pay the bills. So there's that too. All right. Well, guys, I'm excited for Crown Jewel in some ways. It's not, it doesn't feel like WrestleMania to me, although I'm sure the people in Saudi Arabia haven't been getting much sleep lately in anticipation of this event. And it's just one of those deals that we got to chug through every October or so for Crown Jewel or the Greatest Royal Rumble or whatever the prince over there writes enough zeros on a check to have WWE do. And so there's a lot to dissect here. There's a lot to get to. Of course, the King of the Ring tournament still going on. The finals of the King of the Ring. We have the Queen's Crown that's going on. And, I got to say... Look, kind of a weird place to start, but that's what's in my mind right now, and that is the Queen's Crown tournament. I have no problem with who's advancing. I don't. How they've told us who gets in and who hasn't, or how the brackets were even set up to get into this tournament, no one explained. Although with the women, I would default to, this is every woman we have on the roster that's not in a major storyline, throw them in. Because how could you have qualifying matches for this? There wouldn't be enough women because they have such a limited roster as it is. So that was basically the qualifier. Do you have anything going on storyline-wise on television? If you say no, you're in. That's essentially what they did. And the same for the men, really, except the men have a much deeper roster to pull from, and there's no explanation how the men were selected either. They just were selected, and nobody cares. And but my point that I was going to make is not that, but rather how short the women's matches have been for the Queen's Crown and how disrespectful I think that is. Roman Reigns' entrances over the last few weeks, if someone did the math on it, and I haven't, so those of you out there that are sticklers and making sure I'm exactly right on this, I have a very strong suspicion. How about that? Somebody out there maybe do the work on this, but I have a very strong suspicion and just gut feeling that Roman Reigns' entrances have been longer than most of the women's matches for the Queen's Crown. I can almost guarantee you that. I mean, if Roman Reigns' entrances, maybe as an aggregate over the last several weeks, have at least been equal to how much time the women have gotten in the Queen's Crown tournament. Think about that. Just Roman Reigns walking to the ring. And granted, his entrance is long, as it should be. I'm not complaining about his entrance. Really, the aggression or the anger goes towards WWE Creative for talking about the women and how important they are and all these things they've done, and yet they give these women just the most embarrassingly short matches you've ever seen. It feels like I'm back in 2007 here. So I know that match length isn't everything, but it's been every single Queen's Crown qualifier match that has been a blink of an eye. I mean, you go to the bathroom, you miss it, right? You go get something from the fridge, it's over. Don't blink. Seriously, because it will go that quickly. And it's just, I think it's just disrespectful for all the things they've done for the women. It feels like they're doing this because they have to, not because they want to. That's what this feels like to me. When you rush the matches that much, you don't put much into it other than the women pointing to the crown and all that. Like, there's nothing behind this other than it feels like eyewash, meaning it feels like it's optics. It's just there to check a box that they're doing everything in lockstep with what the men have, that there's not a single thing that the men have done or the men currently have that the women do not have. It's nothing more than someone with a clipboard going, yep, check that one off. The women now have a queen's crown, i.e. Queen of the Ring tournament. And I feel like it's half-hearted at best. So maybe you guys feel differently. I just wanted to open with that. Not really anything specific about this week, but rather the several weeks with the Queen's Crown tournament that has been kind of embarrassing, honestly. But the other thing I want to talk about on the good side, on the plus side, man, oh man, it's Seth Rollins and Edge clicking on all cylinders. I mean, so I'm balancing this out. I go from ranting about something and I'm trying to balance it out, guys. So this isn't a massive negative right off the bat. How good was Seth and Edge's promos this week on SmackDown? I mean, you talk about two guys that are professionals. They are at they're on another level right now. You could argue this is easily the main event of the pay-per-view. I mean, honestly, it could be. If the star power of Roman Reigns and Brock weren't there, it should be. I would say storyline wise, in terms of emotional investment, in terms of time allotted to this story and the layers it has gone through and what has led up to this moment, this really should be the main event. I understand it's not for a championship. That's fine. But I mean, it's not going to be the main event. That said, they were both killer on the mic. And I love how they didn't have any physical interaction. I know the fans wanted it. That's when you go to an event, it's just what you want, because everybody wants, when they go to an event, like The Rock to return and Austin come out of retirement and Undertaker, like everybody just kind of but hopes that happens. I mean, when you go to a live event, you're waiting for something unexpected to happen for you. It's just the nature of being a wrestling fan. It'll never grow out of you ever. I don't care. I've been going to wrestling events since I was, 13, maybe younger, 90, whatever the hell the year, 97. I was 12. So, and sadly, fun fact, not so fun fact, I had the chance to be in attendance for the best Raw moment in the Attitude Era, which was Austin spraying down the beer on the corporation. And I opted not to go, like an absolute fool. So I have to live with that the rest of my life. I could have been in attendance for that. I believe Austin took on Big Show that night, hit a couple of stunners, sprayed down the corporation, drank some beer, and that was voted one of the best. I think it was the best Raw Attitude moment, the Attitude Era Raw moment. So I have to live with that guilt forever, unless somebody invents a time machine. I am screwed. So I have to live with that. But back to the current product. Look, this was awesome. Edge's intensity. Now, Edge is intense as it is. But this was another level of intensity that was boiling point intensity. They did exactly what they should have done in tonight's show. I give everyone credit on this segment. Whoever drew this up was part of the promos. Maybe they were limited in their promos, which is maybe what made it so good. And Edge doesn't need a writer, so I may be complimenting nobody, but other than Edge, Adam Copeland, this was another level. He finally addressed Seth being in his home where he breaks bread with his daughters and his family, and he tucks them into bed at night, and all these things that just make it ultra personal. It's like a violation of you as a man, and it was so good. Edge just screaming at another level. And not just screaming to scream during promos like Dolph Ziggler does. Every promo has to be, at level 10. This was intentional and it was purposeful. And it made you want to see him tear Seth apart. When he said he's going to scar his soul, I don't think I've ever heard that put together before. Those words put together. I don't think I have. That was brilliant on Edge's part. And Edge continues to pump out great promos. And I really believe, since these are so great, and he has yet to have really a stinker of one, he's doing these himself. Right? I really don't think there's a whole lot of writing going on for Adam Copeland. I think it's a lot of 90% his brain and 10% which direction we going. I'll get us there. So that was great. And then you have Seth come out in his ridiculous outfits, which are entertaining, but also obnoxious. And he comes out, and I love the way that Seth does his promos. He really builds to the yelling, where Adam Copeland, or Edge, I'll just say Edge. Edge is more like, he starts out really intense. He goes from like a level 8 to a level 10, where Seth starts at like a 1 or a 2 and slowly turns it all the way up to a 10. Seth has done a really good job. I mean, he is at the pinnacle of his career right now. And hopefully not the last pinnacle, but rather just one of many to come. Seth has, I think, matched Edge's promo. He did such a good job on the microphone, saying that you finally admitted that I am not Edge Light, that I am superior to you in every way. And it was great. And Seth talking about how I've been in the cell more than you have. I'm callous to the cell. I've accepted what the cell has done to me. It was great. This made me want to see it even more. And I love how they didn't have either one of them get in some kind of physical altercation. That's great. Just have Edge come out there, say his piece, and then, as Pat McAfee or Michael Cole said, the rebuttal from Seth Rollins. It was great. It was great. I really cannot say enough about this. This is an A+ for me. An A+. That is, to me, the match I'm looking most forward to at the pay-per-view, is this Hell in a Cell match. And it's amazing how much a Hell in a Cell can feel more important when it's deserving instead of built into the calendar. This is a matchup deserving 100% of the cell. And these two men are going to absolutely rip each other apart. The one limiting factor, and this is nothing on Edge or on Seth, is the lack of blood. That's going to, unfortunately, likely limit the drama in this match. Because if there was ever a time for the wrestling gods to deliver a blood-filled match, this is it. Like, can the wrestling gods put something together where he accidentally gets busted open the hard way? But yeah, also making sure the safety, of course, is the first priority. But I hope that blood is somehow okayed by management in some way. If they could get this, man, this would be the one case that I would absolutely advocate for it. So, nonetheless, I'm looking forward to that. A+ on that end. But let's shift gears to Becky and Sasha. And with this one, I've got good and bad. The good, they had a match that's pay-per-view quality, as you'd expect from these two. You know, they just had this match knowing that they're going to be on separate brands and this is their last chance. I understand that. Fine, whatever. And they had a really good match. Bianca Belair on the outside, you knew was going to have some kind of involvement. She whipped her hair on Becky, I guess that was supposed to hit Becky, but Becky stood up like nothing happened. And then the announcers told you it hit her in the arm, and that's what caused the distraction, but then was later corrected to almost hit her arm, and therefore she was still distracted. I don't know if Bianca just simply missed with her hair or not, but nonetheless, we had Sasha Banks hit the bank statement for the victory after, that was like the third bank statement of the match, but a match that was just it was great. And I'm going to miss these two, and I'm sure we'll revisit them at some point. But Charlotte Flair is coming to SmackDown next week. That I'm looking forward to. And those of you I know, there's a lot of Charlotte haters out there. I'm not one of them. I think she's excellent. But back to the task at hand here. That's the good. That's the good about this segment, was this. The bad, I'll start with some smaller things. The bad about this, and actually it's more just puzzling. Sasha Banks comes out and her entrances in 2021, and we are still seeing on her resume that they put up for the stars that come out. They say 2020 Royal Rumble winner or 2-time tag team champion, whatever the accolades are that you'd put on a resume. Sasha Banks is when her graphic comes up, they are still putting on there that she's the cousin of Snoop Dogg. I don't understand this, because I understand you do this for somebody that's new. You want to have something attached to them that's of relevance that maybe the fans can grasp onto or they can build on. No one cares. Nobody cares that she's the cousin of Snoop Dogg. I'm talking 0 people exactly. So I'm thinking to myself, what could possibly be the reason for this? Is this supposed to make her pop culturally relevant? Well, Snoop Dogg hasn't been relevant in like a decade. I know he pops in to WWE from time and again. Maybe there's some kind of agreement with Snoop Dogg, given that he did the remix for Sasha Banks's music, that they'll mention every single time she comes out that she's the cousin of Snoop Dogg and on the graphic. I don't know. That's the only thing I could think of, because at this point, it's not an achievement. It's not something you were awarded. It's something that just happened at birth. You didn't earn anything. It just happened. So I don't know. It's to me way beyond what the graphics should be coming up. I mean, they can't put anything on there. Anything, first time women's Hell in a Cell winner, or like Grand Slam winner, or tag team champ, women's tag team, 2-time women's tag team champions, whatever it is. And yet they just, again, I know I think they do actually have something other than that on there. They have, women's, however many times she's won the women's championship. But to have the Snoop Dogg thing on there at all is just stupid. Maybe they need to update their graphics. Maybe it's sneaking through and no one's noticing. But I saw that. I'm like, wait, what? Why is this still relevant? And the other thing about Sasha Banks, her constant obsession with dedicating her matches to Eddie Guerrero. Number one, you're a heel. Stop it. Okay. Eddie Guerrero died 16 years ago. I'm a massive Eddie Guerrero fan. I'm not trying to disrespect him. The fans chanting Eddie is emotional. Yes. And even Sasha acknowledged it as a heel. But to me, being heel and babyface supersedes everything else that goes on inside the ring, because that's how people emotionally invest and ultimately spend their damn money, which is what you want. But can we stop with this Three Amigos stuff and her, doing the frog splash, which, by the way, I got to say, for as awesome as Sasha Banks is on, inside the ring, she is terrible at the frog splash. In terms of comparing it to Eddie Guerrero, or even RVD for that matter, they made it pretty. Or Montez Ford, he does the frog splash. They make it pretty. Sasha Banks, I'm sorry, honey. You're awesome in the ring, ultra talent, future Hall of Famer. The frog splash is always sloppily done in the air. It's not that she lands bad or hurts somebody. No. It's just the presentation in the air. She can't get her legs to her arms in a, I guess, majestic way. I don't know how to describe it. If you've seen a Sasha Banks frog splash and you look at Eddie Guerrero, they are not the same thing. Okay. But I just, this constant dedication to Eddie is weird, especially as a heel. I think that's the biggest thing I have with it is Eddie Guerrero is a beloved human being, and you are dedicating the match. I don't know. Do you feel me on that? Anyway, the last thing I'll say about Sasha, oh boy, I'm sure I'm going to get voicemails this Wednesday. But let me just preface this, everybody. Sasha Banks is a future Hall of Famer. There are just some things about her that are eye-rolling, and I don't mean in a heel way that you'd want it to be presented that I'm invested in the story. Oh, I can't wait till somebody beats her down. No, in a eye-rolling, just kind of gasping, stupid way, if that makes sense. But I'm not putting down Sasha Banks as a person. Okay. So before I get attacked on voicemail, which I will, that's cool. Here's the deal with her promos. Her promos, can she stop laughing? She has the laugh of Seth Rollins, and I've said this before. They both have a laugh that it's almost channel changing. It doesn't make you want to see them get their ass kicked, which should be the goal, and it's not happening. That's not the effect that it's having. It's it's a fake laugh. That's, I think, the worst part about it is it's not that they only have annoying voices, specifically even like Sasha I'm talking about now. Sasha's voice, her laugh is annoying. But what makes it, I think, the worst is that it's fake. It's a fake maniacal laugh. It's like a movie villain laugh. It sounds so forced. And on top of that, her laugh is annoying. The vocal tone of her voice when she laughs is super annoying. And somebody listening to this who's, from WWE would say, well, bro, that's what we're going for. She's a heel. That's what I don't think people understand. There's a difference. There is a difference. If it was good heat, and I don't want to hear that all heat's the same. That argument does not work with me because there is a difference in how you feel with good heat. Good heat means you're not cheering for them. It means you want to see them get their ass kicked. Roman Reigns has had it, and does still have it. Randy Orton had it. Vince McMahon had it. And when he was, in the ring with Austin, there's great heel heat, and that's the heat you want. But it makes you look stupid. It makes the product look stupid, and it makes you want to change the channel. That's the bad heat. If you can't make those two distinctions, I can't have a conversation with you. Because if you lump all heat together the same, I don't know what to say to you about that. It's just wrong. It's just flat out wrong. There's differences. But that said, Sasha's got that, and it's not becoming to her as a character to help her develop. It makes me cringe. It's a secondhand embarrassment almost. I don't like her laugh. She must think it's great, or Vince is telling her it's great. Because she does it every single promo. Everything she has ever said in every promo, she laughs. And Seth does kind of the same thing to some degree, but Sasha is, I guess, the offender number one when it comes to that. Okay, now that I've said that piece, the other thing about Sasha's promos, she's fine in terms of delivery and how her remembering her lines. She's fine. Can we just remove two words? Can we just remove two words from Sasha Banks's language, or her vocabulary, more specifically? Can we remove the words making history? And those of you that listened before know where I'm going with this. Making history. Everything she has to put in her promos did someone drill in her mind in NXT or something? Or maybe Vince said to her, you got to make it feel important. You got to tell them you're making history. Did someone at some point poison her mind that it's a good idea to talk about making history? And it's not just Sasha who's been an offender of this, but she's the main offender. Why are we always talking about making history? The announcers, fine. The announcers want to talk about it. They're the narrators of the story. Fine. Whatever. Even then I don't like to hear about it because the fans should know that it's making history. It's almost as if they're insulting the intelligence that we're not smart enough to know when history is being made. So they have to tell us 100 times. Like when there's a WrestleMania moment, we don't know that it's a WrestleMania moment because we don't have the cognitive ability to understand what's going on. So we have to be told to remember this moment because it's historic. Well, same thing goes here with Sasha's promos. She just constantly talks about making history. Why? That's a byproduct of what you're doing. If making history is your main priority, then you're not a true competitor. What are you here to write a book? Are you here as a historian? What are you here for? That's not what true competitors say. If this is supposed to be a simulated sport, guess what other competitive sports would say? And competitors in those sports, MLB, NFL, NBA, NHL, they would talk about the team. They would talk about wanting to win the game, win that night. They don't talk about making history. When's the last time you heard about somebody losing the game, baseball game, because playoffs are going on? They're interviewing afterwards, and you have who's in the playoffs? Astros and Red Sox are in the ALCS, and I think it's the Dodgers and the Braves are in the NLCS. So say, for example, the Red Sox lose the game, which I would hope they would because I'm a Yankees fan, but they lose the game. And the interviewer after goes to the pitcher, and he gave up the home run that lost the game. And you have the interview go up to the pitcher after the game and say, hey, what happened there? What were you thinking? What pitch selection? And they were just like, oh, well, I was just hoping to make history tonight. And no. Making history would be maybe winning the game and maybe you go on to the World Series. That's making history. But you don't talk about it. It's a byproduct. And it's the reason I'm making such a big deal out of this is some of you are like, whoa, you are taking so many small things about Sasha and making them such big points. Yeah, I am, because they add up to this.
You're listening to the WWE Podcast. We'll be right back after this short break.
So if you guys don't know who Austin Cook is, he's a national U.S. champion in judo. He is a U.S. Open champion, a World Cup medalist, and he just launched his own YouTube channel. It's called Bad Boy Medicine. And right now there's a promo video up there. It's only a minute long and it's already got over 10,000 views. And there's going to be a lot more content coming. For example, he is going to be interviewing UFC champion Murilo Bustamante. So that's going to be going on the YouTube channel. Of course, on Instagram, you can also follow him at Bad Boy Medicine. Go check out the promo video as well. This is a YouTube channel that's going to grow very quickly, guys. Again, it's Bad Boy Medicine. So if you love combat sports and performance medicine, you're not going to want to miss this. So subscribe right now to Bad Boy Medicine. Check out the podcast Strategy Guide. Need the latest and greatest on games, movies, and more? 4 friends get together on a rotating talk show to compete for the hottest takes on up-and-coming news in the nerd world. A winner out of the group is determined after each episode, who will go on to run the show the following week and mediate the topics and discussions. Topics can range anywhere from the latest details on recently announced games over to some heated debates on movies or shows that you should be checking out. Along the way, you can expect some unique perspectives, a few good laughs, and maybe learning something you didn't know. They're not professionals or experts, just a couple of nerds trying to make sense of the world. So who knows? You might like what you hear. So go check out the podcast Strategy Guide. You can also follow them on Instagram at Strategy Guide Podcast.
Welcome back to the WWE Podcast. Let's get back to more great wrestling audio.
But disengaging from the product is really that creates indifference of the product. That's the problem. All these little things that add up to me. And yeah, they're all focused around Sasha, but Sasha Banks is an ultra great talent, but just they're so easily fixable. But they're so caught up in, I guess, making history themselves that they have to talk about it all the time. Instead of talking about winning the match, because that's apparently what you're here for. Oh boy. All right. But on the flip side, Becky Lynch, nothing wrong with her promo. I got no issues there. Big Time Bex is fine. This is really uncreative here. And maybe on Becky herself, we don't know who was 100% behind the Becky quote unquote heel turn. But listen to the fans' reaction lately. The last few weeks especially. Mixed, right? Cheers and boos. Fans don't really know what to do. We still love your music. You're not acting really heelish. Okay, you got some obnoxious sunglasses, and you're acting like, you've got a big head, and you walk to the ring with a swagger. Okay. What exactly have they done to drill to the minds of fans that she's a heel and that she should be booed? The answer is nothing. Nothing. They have done next to nothing since really she was cowarding away from facing Bianca Belair one-on-one. She kept saying, nah, you don't deserve it. You should have been prepared. After that, she didn't attack the fans. She was on commentary, not attacking the fans there, being more entertaining than anything. The point I'm making with all this is this was the worst possible way to bring Becky back. Meaning, if you're going to turn her heel, which I still 100% disagree with, then go all in. Do it. Or if you're going to bring her back as a babyface, which I would have for at least 3 months and then turned her heel, then do it. The worst possible decision you can make is going down the middle and just, well, they're making noise. That's what matters. They're being loud. That is, to me, such a brainwash of an excuse for not being able to do your job as a creative mind, or maybe on the talent's end with execution. I think there's a lot of parties to blame when things don't go right. Not just in this instance, but in all instances. It's not just one person usually. But that said, it's the constant thing you'll hear from talent. I've heard this even in documentaries. Well, they're being loud. That's the most important thing. No, it's not. It matters on why they're being loud. You're forgetting the why. It's such a lazy, creative excuse for not being able to do your job of casting protagonists and antagonists, villains and good guys, right? That's all this boils down to. And the formula doesn't get old. It does not get old. And right now they have put Becky Lynch in a place that has both cheering and booing. And some people just kind of going, I don't know what to do. Terrible move. It's like they went heel and then they kind of pulled back and were like, I don't know if this is such a good idea. And they just stopped. They took like 2-3 steps and they stopped. And you either keep going or you go back. But to stay there is the worst thing you can do. You got to pick a lane and go. Right now, Becky's sitting there, spinning her wheels, and the fans not knowing what to do. It's a bad look. And yeah, the fans will maybe gravitate, I guess organically back to her being a babyface because they've changed nothing with her other than her outfits and a little bit more arrogance in promos. That's about it. So I think they'd naturally gravitate towards back to cheering her, but it's still going to be a lukewarm, this microwaved over version of what they could have gotten if they just went full one way or the other. So that's my thoughts on Becky Lynch and Sasha, both in the match and individually right now as we speak on Sunday, October 17th, 2021. All right, well, let's continue on here and let's talk about something else, something different. Oh, boy, I'm going to try to find something really good here. I'm going to try to find something I really enjoyed. Pat McAfee, I got to say, Pat McAfee has really just exploded onto the scene here, and I enjoy most of what he says. Sometimes he goes off the rails a little bit, but he has added so much to the show. It's crazy that an announcer can have that much of an effect. So I hope Pat McAfee stays wherever he goes, or at least stays with the company. I don't know what his long-term plans are, but yeah, Pat McAfee. At first, I found him extremely obnoxious. I enjoyed what's his name on Raw? I can't remember. But the other commentator that's on Raw that they brought in about the same time, there was like a revolving door there for a while. Is it Jimmy something? It's a really plain name, but yeah, I got to say. He is a highlight of every week, and he's missed when he's not there. It's brilliant, I got to say. But he's not always accurate, but he certainly is an absolute asset. So, all right, let's talk about, let's say, Finn Balor getting the victory over Sami Zayn. I got to say, I'm sad that we didn't get a Sami victory here to go to the King of the Ring finals. But having Finn Balor win here is fine as well. And they had a hell of a match, as you'd expect from these two absolute professionals as well. Technically sound. They could have a 60-man Iron Man match, and I'd still be interested in watching another 60 minutes. They are so good together. And Finn Balor it's almost like when Finn Balor left to go to NXT, that he left a boy and came back a man. And I don't know, he looks the exact same. But it's almost like he went to a different world and came back. And now he's just this different guy with a different attitude. And like he's just grown up. It's I don't know. I'm seeing that in a good way. Mr. Smiley, don't care if I lose. I'm here to have a good time. To, I've got an edge. F you. And I know who I am. That is just such a really cool thing. And I got to say, Finn Balor having this matchup with Sami Zayn was fun. It was really good, as you'd expect. It was awesome. And we'll have to see where Sami's going after this. Obviously not to Saudi Arabia, but he is, Finn Balor that is in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. I think it's either against Xavier Woods or whoever he's facing, Jinder Mahal in the finals. So it'll be very interesting. I'm going to Raw to see what the finals end up being. But I got to say too, like, can we get Finn back in the main event? Man, this guy's good. Man, this guy is good. And I hope he doesn't go off into oblivion after chasing the Universal Championship, losing to Roman Reigns as the Demon, and then gets put back into just this completely irrelevant position of the upper mid card. That is, I hope not. Finn deserves to be the main event. Not every night. I'm not saying he's the next Stone Cold Steve Austin, like having him a consistent main event champion for 3 years. No. But at least, get him in the conversation. So, all right. Selena Vega versus Carmella. This is it's good. Here's another good one. I'm going to find something good about this. Selena Vega could indeed finally be getting a real push. Now, that could mean that she's going to parade around as the queen for a while, and yet we're also going to have Charlotte on SmackDown. So I wonder what could happen when the pretend queen goes against the real queen. And I think Zelina Vega, I really do believe Zelina Vega has really good days ahead of her. I've said that from the beginning, that her best days are ahead of her. It feels like she needs to be let loose on the mic. She's good on the mic. She's always had a really good presence. But I've always wanted her to just let loose and not play a character or read her lines. It feels like a lot of times she's reading lines, particularly when her and Carmella are standing parallel to one another, where the camera is at, as if they're having a conversation for the camera and not to each other. That to me is, and it's not, I'm not blaming this on Carmella or Zelina. That's to me just a forever WWE production blot that they have the competitors who are having conversations backstage standing so the camera can perfectly see them. Who the hell has a conversation where you're not facing one another and you're standing like side by side? That's essentially how every conversation goes. That again, it's a small thing, but it's a constant small thing. It's like that little mosquito that keeps biting you. It's like, come on, dude. Can we just please have people look like they're actually having real conversations? But Zelina, I'm good with her advancing, but it also was a super short match again. And Carmella continues to fall and fall and fall. All she's got is this face mask thing, which is fine. It's fine. And we had Liv Morgan show up and hold the mask, and that's what caused the distraction. And Zelina Vega ended up winning. It's fine. Whatever. I'm a big Zelina fan, so that's the positive I'll take from this. That is. We'll say that. Oh, the Usos and the Street Profits. Wow. Really good match here. Another really good match. It was a great night of wrestling outside of the short women's matches. It was a really, really good night of wrestling here, and these two teams brought it. And the kendo stick shots to it wasn't Montez Ford, but Angela Dawkins were brutal. And Montez goes through the table. Some of the things Montez can do from inside the ring, like jumping over the ring post and landing on his feet, are just insane. As I said a few weeks ago, I think that he's secretly Inspector Gadget, but the go Gadget legs, he's insane. It's not even a question he's the star of the group, but I'm not ready for them to break up either. They are a star tag team, but clearly a level below where the Usos are, given that the Usos beat them clean. And that's fine. I have no problem with a heel team beating a babyface team clean. They shouldn't always have to cheat to win. So it was good stuff here. Physical and just great stuff. I have no issue here. I mean, I could watch these two teams lock horns again and again. And they got one more use out of it before the The draft takes effect next week. All right. Then we got, oh my goodness, Happy Talk, which was completely pointless. We had Madcap Moss with his terrible jokes that I guess are supposed to be so terrible they're great. I guess that's the logic behind them. They're very, very pun heavy, and the crowd is booing this. They talked about Kevin Owens and put him down again and again. And I was expecting Kevin Owens to come out again and actually get the advantage to some degree, and he never showed. But we got Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs just coming out, and which was weird because it transitioned to the Street Profits heading to the ring. It was weird. I don't know. I felt this was completely just pointless. If you're talking about a pointless segment, you're looking at one right here, which is bizarre. It was just weird. It was a weird segment, but all right. So that pretty much covers SmackDown. Oh, wait. The contract signing. Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. Obviously, to end the show. Now, WWE did their 30 minutes, their supersized SmackDown. And they had Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar in a contract signing, which is always interesting to me that they advertise this match. They make tons of posters for it. They put it up on social media. It's all over town, all over the world. And they don't actually make it official or have a contract signing until mere days or a week before it's supposed to take place. Wouldn't you make it official in writing before you go and make all this marketing material and tell the world about it? I know that's a formality. I know this is for show. It's pro wrestling. But I just thought about that this week. I'm like, out of all the contract signings we've seen, why does WWE promote everything? Make all this effort, talk about the match, build it up for weeks, and the contract signing isn't until like days before the pay-per-view, oftentimes, with somebody end up going through a table. It's just, it makes no legal sense, logical sense. Marketing, like none of it makes sense that you do that. It's so backwards, but I understand it's for show. It's usually the culmination of a face-to-face. It's a great platform to have them get their final words in. I understand it. But does anybody ever think about that logically? I'm not trying to ruin this for you guys. But sometimes when things happen like this, it's like, why? Why can't we just sometimes make things make sense? But again, I'm really not angry about this at all. I mean, you have Brock freaking Lesnar in the ring. I'm still not a fan of the ponytail. I know a lot of you guys are. I'm cool with the beard. I'm even cool with the plaid cutoffs and the cowboy boots and all that he wears. It's fine. I still prefer the old Brock look. But the ponytail I can't do with. He's like, an aging man, and the ponytail doesn't work for me. I really want to pay someone, like I said last week or the week before, in his sleep. I will pay somebody to just sneak in his house, risk death, and shave that off. Please. I do not like it. I know some people, it's a cool look. No, I think it's I don't know. It's a sloppy look. I don't like it, but that's coming from a guy who, shaves his head. So I guess I am biased. Nonetheless, a good segment here. We have Paul Heyman again at the center of the controversy, and the lingering question that the announcers posed to us was, where does Brock Lesnar, or where does Paul Heyman stand? Where is his allegiance? Is it to the tribal chief, or is it really secretly to Brock Lesnar? I think we'll get a big answer to that come this Thursday night at Crown Jewel. I think we'll get a really big answer to that, or at least a massive step forward in getting an answer of where this is going. Perhaps Paul turns on Roman, or it looks like he accidentally turns on him or accidentally screws him over, but it was actually in reality intentional. He's going to be at the center of something, because I don't think this is the final blow off. Crown Jewel is not a blow off pay-per-view other than with Seth and Edge. It's not with these two particularly. This is the first time they've met in a couple of years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it's been. So to me, this is the start, not the end of Roman and Brock. That could continue. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe we don't have part 2 until Rumble or something. We'll see. But Paul Heyman is going to be at the center of this, as Paul Heyman continued to be the center of the controversy. as Roman carefully looked over the contract, signed it, and then Brock didn't even look at the contract and just like signed his name away. And Roman hilariously actually said, are you a dumbass? You're not even going to read it, which was actually really, really funny. I did laugh at that. And it just seemed like genuine from Roman. I really enjoyed that line. And then Brock responded by saying, I reviewed it earlier this morning with my advocate, Paul Heyman, and then just left the ring. Man, it's got to be a sweet life to get paid millions to come up into a ring, get cheered by millions of people, not have to put your body at risk, sit there, put your feet up on a table, say a sentence or two, sign a piece of paper, and walk out. This guy has got it made. I mean, he's reached a level of stardom that most of us or none of us listening will ever reach. And it's just amazing. He's a generational star talent. So good for Brock for getting paid to do basically nothing. But he's going to bust his ass on Thursday. No question about it in Saudi Arabia. I'm interested to see how long the match lasts, how many moves are done. I don't think it's going to be a Goldberg special. I do believe this will be at least probably 12 minutes. 10, 12 minutes is where I'm looking. I don't expect this to be a 20-minute classic, but probably 10 to 12 minutes is likely what you're looking at here. And, we'll see what happens with Paul Heyman. You'll get my official preview and predictions on Tuesday night's show. It'll be a mega Raw review / Crown Jewel preview show. So, again, I thought this was a good segment. It was effective. It did what it needed to do, and it also continued to create doubt in the mind of Roman Reigns of where Paul Heyman stands. So that's going to be interesting to really dive into. And like I said, though, we need to be careful, and WWE needs to be careful about how they really position this, because Paul Heyman is not an active competitor, right? He is a manager that is extremely limited in the ring, that can take a small bump or two, but is not a guy that you want to have the payoff be a match. He's forced into a match with Brock or forced into a match with Roman. That is not good for business. That does not sell tickets. That's a disaster waiting to happen. So they need to be careful of how they position it. Now, it's not to say Paul won't take a bump, whether an F5 or a spear, whatever the case may be, and how he turns. But you can't have him in a match, obviously. So we need to kind of look past Paul and see how they're going to line things up. So it was also interesting to note during this segment, obviously, this was during the 30-minute overrun, so to speak, that competed directly with Rampage. The first time SmackDown has done that. Of course, NXT did that with Dynamite, but moved to Tuesdays, while NXT Dynamite or AEW's Dynamite stayed on Wednesdays. And this is the first time for 30 minutes that these two companies went head to head for 30 minutes. And WWE did win the overall viewership, but I got to say, they threw everything they could at that 30 minutes. And it's fun to see this kind of competition again. We have not seen this type of competition for quite some time. And when WWE's back is against the wall, that's when they come out usually with their best stuff. And they did commercial free for 30 minutes. That tells you that they didn't want you to tune over to Rampage. That's a direct response to that. I think Vince looks at that 30 minutes and says they want to see what they're getting into. Let's let them play with the big boys. Let's go ad free for 30 minutes, no commercials. Let's put Brock Lesnar out there. Let's put Roman Reigns out there. Let's have a pay-per-view quality Sasha Banks and Becky Lynch match. They really went balls to the wall, so to speak, on that 30 minutes. And it was as if Vince was kind of flexing his muscle, probably metaphorically and literally, but flexing the company muscle, showing them that you ain't blank. I think that's what that was. But AEW did fire back, and they did go commercial free during, I think it was a CM Punk match. So they did a nice job as well, but it just shows that the AEW viewership is not quite where you want it to be yet. But it's a company that's been in existence for 2 years, and as Triple H's infamous pissant company statement comes back around to haunt him, it's amazing that this pissant company forced WWE to go ad free for 30 minutes and actually make an effort to show AEW, I guess, who's boss in their eyes. If they were really truly a pissant company, they wouldn't have gone through the effort of even blinking an eye, of doing anything extra to try to show up AEW. And so I got to say, it's fun to see this competition again. This type of competition has not existed since the Monday Night Wars. And we'll see if they ever continually go head-to-head. We'll see if the head-to-head ever is a consistent thing. It's probably just a one-off for now, but I don't anticipate that lasting forever. And they will eventually collide on a weekly basis, I believe. And then you know who the winners are? You got it. You and me, the wrestling fan. That's who the real winners are, because we get the best product possible driven by competition instead of WWE resting on their laurels, not putting in the effort that they probably should, knowing they're the only game in town. That's changed. And I give Tony Khan all the credit in the world. Boy, oh boy. Great stuff, guys. Great time to be a wrestling fan. All right. Let's talk about WWE's latest obsession of putting foes together in a tag team to see if they can coexist. The drama of it all. That they have the obsession with that and explaining the rules of a triple threat. For some reason, we don't know the rules of a triple threat. This is the first match of its kind. We don't understand that the champion has no advantage. We don't get that there's no DQ. We need these things explained to us. And I appreciate WWE's just total clarity when it comes to making sure we understand those rules, as well as that drama can ensue from putting foes in a tag team together. Who knew? So not only did we get that all last week, like on both shows of, oh my gosh, the team broke down? No. We get that this week because guess what? On Monday Night Raw, as WWE announced about 5 hours ago, that at least from this recording, that Big E and Drew McIntyre are opponents this Thursday at Crown Jewel. But will they be able to coexist tomorrow night on Raw? With who they're facing is the Dirty Dogs of Bobby Roode, Robert Roode, and Dolph Ziggler. So they're putting them together again. Can they coexist? It's like asking this question. When someone gets knocked to the outside of the ring and the camera zooms in on whoever's on the ground laying there and they say, can so-and-so get back in the match as SmackDown rolls on or Raw rolls on? The answer is yes. Yep, they're going to get back in the matchup, and they will eventually go on offense. It's a 100% chance. Not just a maybe or a probably or a definitely, or at least a maybe and definitely. It's a guarantee they will get back in the matchup. Yep, yes, they will. And just like the team of two opponents being put together is going to break down? Yep. Yeah, the answer is yes. I mean, just yes. The fact that they even put this out there on social media is just, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. And I don't know. It's kind of sad at the same time. Not that I'm not looking forward to the matchup with Big E and Drew. On some level I am, even though I think we all know the outcome of that one. I'm ready for Drew to just be on SmackDown. Can we skip this match and just have Drew on SmackDown? Please? Just skip Saudi Arabia, let him stay home with his family, and then ship him off to SmackDown next week. That, to me, is how I would do this. Not only is the outcome insanely predictable. It's not even like a chance of, you know what, I'm not going to spoil my pick on Tuesday. I'm going to make it tune in on Tuesday, but not only that, but it's just so unnecessary to have teams who are opponents because you know the outcome. So anyway, as far as Raw goes, because that was a very SmackDown heavy review of the week. I mean, let's see what happened. That I already haven't reviewed on Tuesday. Jeff Hardy continues his loss streak again and teasing a new personality on SmackDown. We got King of the Ring quarterfinals with Jinder Mahal and Kofi. Queen Crown quarterfinals with Doudrop and Natalya. Almost defeating Riddle with a choke bomb. Which, I mean, I got to say, tossing around Riddle like that, a guy that is a legit badass. I'd like to see Riddle put up a little more of a fight. But it also tells you where they view Omos. I'll say that. They view Omos in a very high position right now. So I'm excited to see what they do with him moving forward. We had Xavier Woods and Ricochet in a King of the Ring qualifier. Shelton and Cedric defeating Mustafa. I like Mustafa. It's all the same. Ali and Mansoor. And then Shayna Baszler defeating Dana Brooke via pinfall. So, I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Raw. It ended with Drew McIntyre giving a Claymore to Big E and having Drew with a big knot on his head as he went up the ramp. So, WWE, I think you have your answer if they can coexist. Oh, boy. So, let's just get to the pay-per-view, guys. I know I'm just ready for it. I'm ready for the draft reset, the roster resets. I'm ready to get past Saudi Arabia. And by the way, it's not just Saudi Arabia. They won't ever say in Saudi Arabia, they'll say Riyadh, which is the city. But now you notice they say the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I don't know if that's just propaganda or if it's actually considered a real kingdom or if they just, I don't know. Is Saudi Arabia really defined as a kingdom? I'm asking seriously. I don't know. But I noticed that instead of just saying Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, they would say, and this Thursday in Riyadh, in the kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I don't know. It feels like a WWE thing. Like they have to have a nickname for everything. They even gave Saudi Arabia a nickname. No one's immune. Everybody's got to have a marketing slogan. Everybody's got to have a cute little nickname. Nobody can just be who they are, right? You got to make sure you Vince McMahonize them. So perhaps that is, it's out of pure laziness that I'm not Googling this right now. It's total laziness. So perhaps somebody out there, I'm relying on you, the listener, to tell me if indeed Saudi Arabia is considered a kingdom. And if it is, I'll take my words back. But if it's not, then clearly it's just a nickname mandate that no one's immune from. So, all right. Well, this has been a whole lot of fun, guys, in the weekend review. A lot of recording coming to you this week with it being a pay-per-view week. I mean, it will be every single day. You'll be getting a show. I'll be doing a show tomorrow night with the What If with Anthony DeMarco. Tuesday nights, the Raw review / Crown Jewel preview. Wednesday's the mailbag. Thursday is your Crown Jewel review show. Friday is your rivalries episode with Anthony. Saturday, of course, comes to you with the SmackDown review. Oh, and Mimi doing her AEW Dynamite review that comes to you this week on Thursdays, and then back to Sunday. So it's going to be every day in your face. Hope you love this audio because you're going to get a whole lot more of it in the coming days and the whole week. So everybody, if you want to participate in the mailbag, hit us up at realwwpodcast@gmail.com. Even if you're new, please, I encourage you, as well as send us a voicemail, 518-952-0247. That is the best way to drop your message to us, and keep it PG. If you cuss, I got to edit it out, or if it's just ridiculously bad. I've had a few voicemails that are just completely inappropriate. I just delete them, right? And it's what you get. It's the internet. But follow us on wrestling_audio on Twitter during the pay-per-view. I'll be tweeting, and just follow us there in general, as well as on Patreon if you want an ad-free experience and you want to get on the Discord server and you want just a shout out on the show and some other great benefits for just $1. Head on over to patreon.com/WWE podcast, or you can go on Apple Podcasts if you want ad free and you want to use the regular Apple Podcast app. You don't want to go anywhere. Hit the subscribe button, the ad free button rather, at our homepage, and you'll get every show we've done ad free, as well as every future show we do ad free. And you get to not have to leave your Apple Podcast app, plus 7 days free. 7 days free to just explore what no ads sounds like. And trust me, once you listen to a show with no ads, you never want to go back. I'm saying that from experience. I'm not just saying it to try to sell you something or anything. I listen to ad free, pay for something for ad free, and you will never go back ever. So check us out there. Until then, guys, I'll talk to you next time. So if you guys don't know who Austin Cook is, he's a national U.S. champion in judo. He is a U.S. Open champion, a World Cup medalist, and he just launched his own YouTube channel. It's called Bad Boy Medicine. And right now there's a promo video up there. It's only a minute long and it's already got over 10,000 views. And there's going to be a lot more content coming. For example, he is going to be interviewing UFC champion Murillo Bustamante. So that's going to be going on the YouTube channel. Of course, on Instagram, you can also follow him at Bad Boy Medicine. Go check out the promo video as well. This is a YouTube channel that's going to grow very quickly, guys. Again, it's Bad Boy Medicine. So if you love combat sports and performance medicine, you're not going to want to miss this. So subscribe right now to Bad Boy Medicine.